Hey everybody, NikoTheLegend here, also known as the well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, the rambling idiot, and Vigil. And today we are talking about something that I don't really talk about when it comes to these Mass Effect videos. Usually I'm all like positivity or negativity or maybe somewhere down the middle. I think this time around I don't know. This might be negative, this might be positive, this might be actually a mix of everything because I got done reading this article and I really wanted to give it a piece of my mind. So why not make a video and see how people feel about my opinions on certain things when it comes to what this article entails of? Because I really didn't like what they had to say, which is normal, which is fine. You shouldn't have to agree with everything you read on the internet. You go with your best judgment, am I right? Before we get into this, folks, my name is NikoTheLegend. If you like what you see today, oh my goodness, feel free to subscribe. I would appreciate it. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, guys. So this video is going to be talking about what Mass Effect Legendary Edition should have changed, but didn't. Now, I know this is a lazy way of doing things like the usual Nico method, but hey, whatever, I'm still here trying to make a living. I'm going to read through this, and I already read through it before we did this video, but I kind of want to break this down with you guys as bit by bit. Because there's some things in here that I can, kind of understand why people maybe felt upset, or, this was a change that shouldn't have been changed, or something that, should have, right? It's either, pick your poison. But while I was reading through this, I just didn't agree with a lot of what this article states. No. I think this is a guy who was trapped under the nostalgic lens, or lady, whatever. I think this was a person who expected way too much out of a remastered version of the game. Okay, I know the title, it being called Legendary Edition, wasn't a good one to begin with. Honestly, they could have called it something much better. I have a previous video on that. Don't know what it's called, but I forget. I've done so many. But there was just some things about this author that really grinded my gears. So like I said, we're going to break down this article. We're going to go bit by bit. I'm going to give you my my darndest opinion and viewpoint. Now, I will let you know, before we do this, don't worry, there'll be a timestamp so you guys can just go straight to the article and breaking it down. I haven't beaten the entire Mass Effect trilogy. I just beat my first playthrough on YouTube the other day, and my second playthrough, which is off stream, I'm near the end of Mass Effect 2. So there's still some things I have not seen, but reading through this article, for what they have listed for examples, I can give you enough information because I have experienced this stuff they're talking about. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. Like I said, this is just my humble opinion and breaking it down and trying to rationalize why this author or journalist decided to make such a stupid article, because a lot of you gotta understand, this is a remastered game. If you got your hype glasses, your nostalgic rose-tinted glasses on, and you were disappointed, well, maybe you shouldn't have so much hype. I know it's Mass Effect trilogy, but besides the point, man. Overhyping yourself and not doing enough research can really just hurt you in the long run. And you won't like me or BioWare or anybody else trying to explain it to you. You have no one else but yourself to blame. Now, with that said, let's go. The release of Mass Effect Legendary Edition brought several large changes to the trilogy, from a complete visual overhaul to the adjustment of various gameplay mechanics, such as Mako Controls and level scaling. However, the remaster fell short in the eyes of some fans by failing to update and improve features that really should have been altered. Like I said, guys, this is a remastered. If they would have... Anyway, I'll keep going. It's just hard to, From the notorious dialogue system to the still faulty planet exploration, many areas of Mass Effect could have been polished further. Alright, here we go. Other significant changes brought about by Mass Effect Legendary Edition include the removal of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode, as well as the ending of the trilogy, which there's rumors that the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode will be added later on, just they wanted to focus on the trilogy first. But anyway, I digress. Which now features the extended cut version of events rather than the standard ending, which is a good thing. A very good thing. Smaller alterations like bug fixes and a new render of Tali to replace her controversial photo in the original trilogy can be found throughout the game, which were also good things to do. The bug fixes, not all the bugs are fixed in the remastered trilogy that you've experienced in the original games. And yeah, you just watch my streams. I have proof on the YouTube channel. So there you go. I got the sources right there. Okay, the addition of a universal character creator and the removal of weapon restrictions for Mass Effect 1 helps to bring the oldest game of the series up to par with later releases, and the ability to access each individual game through a unified launcher makes Mass Effect Legendary Edition an easy way for new fans to experience the series. However, returning players may be disappointed to find that the game's updated features haven't changed some of the more heavily critiqued aspects from the original releases. Well, like I said, this is where we get into remastered territory, and it's pretty much rewriting the entire game. And I just don't understand why people don't see it that way. Like, they think they can just remaster this and it's going to be better. No. This is pretty much reinventing the wheel and getting rid of what originally made the game great or notoriously bad. You gotta keep some of that stuff in there, or else you're just changing too much. It's not even in the same game anymore. You want the memes to stop ending? I don't know what world you live in. One area of the game that hasn't been changed, but arguably should have been, is the dialogue wheel. You know what? This guy needs to play Fallout 4 and come back and understand what they mean by this dialogue wheel, right? Fallout 4's dialogue wheel was terrible. Very, very linear. What decisions to make and what to say. It was terrible. Aside from exploratory dialogue options, players are given Paragon and Renegade choices that influence Shepard's morality as well as the morality of their crewmates, which is like a light and dark side type thing, which I appreciate them to have. Or open fist, closed fist. Or open palm, closed fist. Sorry for all the Jade Empire super nerds. Different Paragon and Renegade choices throughout Mass Effect result in different actions and can have significant impact on the story of the series. However, the black and white options provided by the system can feel restrictive to players, and there's little incentive for Shepard to pick the Renegade choice if they're Paragon and vice versa. An update to Mass Effect's dialogue system could have given players a wider range of options or provided a more compelling reason to explore conversation branches they otherwise wouldn't have picked. Like I said, you're rewriting the entire script of the game, okay? That's not remastering at all. That's remaking, okay? Look what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I will always go with the original script of that game, of back when it came out on the original PlayStation in '97, at least in the States. And I hate the new dialogue stuff that goes on in the remake because it's so one-liney, linearity crap. There's no... God, I just didn't like it. It was just so on the surface. Mass Effect Legendary Edition could have found a middle ground between the original dialogue wheel and the completely altered version from Mass Effect Andromeda. All right, so this is a bit of a big one. I didn't think you guys were that butthurt about the dialogue wheel for these games. Admittedly, I was more butthurt about the dialogue wheel for Mass Effect Andromeda because a lot of the decisions you made in that game didn't even freaking matter. They made absolutely no changes to the story at all, really. When you had those choices to make, like the lovey-dovey, the real stern, the aggressive, you know, like the stuff that they took from Inquisition. Although Inquisition did a lot better, to me, my choices felt more impactful. But Andromeda was very, you know what? Mass Effect trilogy, black and white. Mass Effect Andromeda, it didn't have any color. It wasn't even gray not even gray. But anyway, I could see people just shilling me in the comments about this one. So talking about a middle ground, listen, I understand that choosing the Paragon, choosing the Renegade options, yeah, they're nice and highlighted and they kind of obligate you to pick them if you have a certain way of playing. But guess what? You don't always get the Paragon and Renegade choices. Most of the time, the Paragon and Renegade choices are for extreme measures. They are not a necessity to enjoy the game's conversations. You know why? Because half the time when you're playing the game and you get to those decisions, you have other options. The ones that you don't have enough skill points, you know, if you don't have enough skill points for Paragon and Renegade, you have the regular options of what you can pick. Sure, you're not going to get the best outcome that you could possibly get, but in a perfect world, in a realistic world, it would be more on the side of like that, you know, where you don't always have the right thing to say, or you might pick something that's neutral or something that somebody doesn't like to hear, that you don't both reach common ground on, you know. You can't be the diplomatic solution every single time. You're a flawed human just like me, and this video you think is going to be flawed as well. But besides that, it's like I said, the Paragon and Renegade stuff is only used in extreme circumstances or in times of crisis, or very, very, like I said, very important decisions to be made. But not always the case. Like spoilers, when you have to choose between sacrificing Ashley or Caden. Where was the Paragon Renegade option there? It wasn't. You couldn't say both. The game decided that no, you had to pick one or the other. Which one do you hate more? And leave them behind. So, right then and there, it proves to me that the dialogue wheel is not as bad as people are thinking. And what's wrong with having those black and white situations? I get the dialogue wheel, it limits the amount of things you used to say in a BioWare game, like in Jade Empire, Dragon Age Origins, or Knights of the Republic, anything before that. I completely understand that people liked it to whatever they picked was their actual decision, and it was all great. It was what you wanted, the best decision that you thought in that situation. So I can understand people, feeling like they took a lot of that freedom away with the dialogue wheel. But hey, when I was playing Mass Effect for the first time, I had no problem. Look, like I said, I wanted to pick the Paragon, I wanted to pick the Renegade, but there were times that I couldn't because I didn't have enough skills or something, So it's not ever forcing you. Like I said, it may obligate you, but you don't have to pick those decisions. There's always plenty of other choices to pick too, whether you like it or not. So I don't know, like rewriting that or updating, I don't know what they could have done to make that better, because it's not the original. It wouldn't be Mass Effect anymore. They wouldn't be memed or disliked. If like you really want it, it's like this is stuff that they, these games are old, right? A lot of things should have been taken not taken too much for granted and used for later editions in the game, but except Andromeda, because the writing in that game was something that a high schooler could actually a 5-year-old could do, and those unique decisions you can make based on emotions or expressions didn't really affect the game at all, honestly. But hopefully in Mass Effect 4, and don't forget, they decided to take the Paragon Renegade out of Mass Effect Andromeda, and a lot of people didn't like that. I didn't like that. And if you look up a lot of articles talking about things that should be in the next Mass Effect, the Paragon and Renegade system are going in there. And to add a little bit more fuel for the fire, the games got better with their Renegade and Paragon choices to where they weren't so black and white. Especially in Mass Effect 3. Sometimes the black and white Paragon Renegade weren't always the nicest things or the best things to do. And it started in Mass Effect 2. Renegade doesn't always mean you're like this evil son of a bitch. Sometimes you just want to be a badass. And that's why they had those like pop-up stuff on the screen. You didn't always have to do it, but it was tempting, right? But anyway, I digress, guys. I know this was a big one. That's why I spent a lot of time on it. Just know that if they would have changed anything else or written or dabbled with it, then it wouldn't be a remaster anymore. This is in the remake territory. And BioWare had no plans on doing that. They didn't see anything wrong with the original work. The original writing to this game is fantastic, okay? Drew Carpesian and whoever did the screenplay or whatever, wrote the script, did a fantastic job, and I don't want anybody else dabbling with it, okay? At that point, just do your own Mass Effect fan fiction, right? And yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda, no, just no. So, there's probably more things I could have talked about, but I think we get the idea. I think I butchered that one. Another feature that should have been more thoroughly updated is the Mako. Once again, folks, we had people that complained that the Mako's controls were updated, and then you had people that complained, and then you had the people who were happy that it was altered or enhanced or a little bit better. But at this point, guys, we're in the remake territory if we do any further changes, okay? Mass Effect Legendary Edition adds new Mako controls and improved physics, making it less inclined to bounce excessively and flip over onto its back, though players are provided with the option to return the original Mako controls instead. Exactly, so, best of both worlds. However, the changes to the Mako aren't significant enough to make planet exploration worth it in the eyes of many players. Hey, guess what? Eyes of many players. What kind of players are we talking about, Mr. General Vagueness of this article? Are you talking about people who have played Mass Effect 1 a gazillion times? Yeah, of course they don't want to do it because they know how to trim the fat and how to enjoy this game properly. with me personally, when I was playing it, I thought it was great to explore these planets again because it's been a while. I thought I wanted to test out the new Mako. It's not as tedious as it used to be because it loads faster. You can get around to certain places faster. You can run around out of combat a lot. You know, you have that ability, and the game is just not as a boring or a mundane mess when it comes to exploring some planets. But hey, like I said, I didn't have that a bad of a time. And guess what? It took me, out of all the side quests to do in the game, besides collecting all like the relics and protein crap, all the fetch quests like that, all the other quests that to me I deemed important, that help alter some decisions in the second game or third game. You'll see those NPCs coming back. It took me a total of 2 to 2.5 hours to do all the side quests, and that's really nothing. That's not that much in the grand scheme of things. Even though Mass Effect 1 is on average 16 hours to beat if you did all the side quests and, you know, stuff that I did. Hey, check out the playthrough on YouTube. It's all there. And I let people know, I'm like, this is great. You know, I'm not bored by this at all. You know, it's a lot smoother transitions, a lot better. But this person who, like I said way in the beginning of this article, is somebody who wanted more. I'm like, you gotta wait for the next game, bud. Or play Andromeda. The Nomad is a great... they did a great job with the Nomad in Mass Effect Andromeda. But that game is with a completely different engine, and it was made later on in life, in time, in the BioWare timeline. Mass Effect 1 was the start of something new, and come on, you really wanted the Mako to be that much different, or else it's not called the Mako anymore, it'd be called the Nomad, if you want to get all, you know, technical in a way. What they did was fine. They made enough improvements to where it still stayed in the remastered compartment. You know, anything else, anything more would have completely overwritten what the original Mako brought to players, and you're just going to get a remake treatment at that point. So like I said before, this is a guy who wrote an article who got his expectations too high, wasn't cautiously optimistic, or at least cautious at all, had his rose-tinted glasses on, was going with the feeling of nostalgia, like we all do when it comes to re-releases for games, and didn't do enough research, even though he's supposed to be this journalist. This is somebody who didn't even do his homework. So, however, the changes to the Mako aren't significant enough, blah, blah, blah. Planet terrain in Mass Effect 1 is difficult to navigate. Not that much, by the way. This guy's just a crybaby. With steep hills and sharp crevices, making it easier for the Mako to get stuck. Guys, it's really not that bad. Trust me. I'll admit there were a couple points in the game where I did get stuck, but that's because I was trying to scale the mountains and going up the mountains. That was my choice. Okay, I was thinking, I always pretend like I'm playing Skyrim because my horse can climb anything in Skyrim. You know, but that's just the joy and sheer jank of Skyrim or Bethesda games. But this, if you're going into a rugged terrain or rugged mountain with the Mako, you know, a good chance that you know, you will get stuck. But I never been stuck to where I have to reload the game. No, that's never happened. I've been pretty gutsy on trying to traverse these steep mountains, and yeah, I just fall flat on my ass. So there you go. Like I said, this guy's a bit of a crybaby. Although the vehicle's combat has been largely improved, the driving remains unpleasant to a large number of players because of this. Like I said, these are people that don't do any of their homework. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. New or players coming back, you know, believe it or not, many people don't do their homework at all when it comes to this. Nowadays, you have to do your research on games like this. You have to do the research. And you know what? This goes back to my argument before about, is this game worth $60? When you have so many people that complain about certain things like this, and yet you come back expecting, I don't know, something to be better. I'm like, you got what you asked for, okay? Like I said, you have no one else to blame but yourself. BioWare was just, you know, this is BioWare and EA at its best. You know this was going to be $60, but you also should have known that this is a remastered game, and it's only going to be changed so much or made a little bit better, or else it's not the same game anymore. Given how prominent the Mako is in Mass Effect 1, it should have been more of a focal point when it comes to the changes in Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So that's just a few things we listed here, guys. But, you know, like I said, the Mako, it's like they did a well enough job to keep it in the remastered department. Anything else? remake. There's no way it was going to be like the Nomad, because guess what? It doesn't go with all the other stuff that Mass Effect is based upon. All the systems that were changed or altered or that were originally still there, if you made the Mako to be close to the Nomad or exactly like the Nomad, it just wouldn't fit well in the Mass Effect 1 game. The pacing would be completely different. It wouldn't work with the physics engine and all that, just all this other technical stuff. Like I said, you would have to remake the entire vehicle. And look, the Legendary Edition could easily have been a cash grab because the remaster didn't do the things that you wanted it to do originally. But this is something you should have seen. BioWare's not going to spend 5 years and spend all this money on a remaster when they're focused on Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it, and whatever else they're working on. They're only going to do so much. And I'm okay with that because they still kept the original feel and the soul of this game is still there in the trilogy, in the Legendary Edition. I mean, am I wrong to say that? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I know I dabbled, I rambled a little bit, but I try to remember every little thing that I experienced and try to let you guys know that it's not as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. Those are the people that, like I said, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it until you guys get it in your head. Because I care about you guys. I want you to know this stuff. This is why I have a YouTube channel. This is why I make these Mass Effect videos, so I can give you the cold, hard truth, whether you like me or not. The Mass Effect isn't worth it video tells me enough how much you don't like me. But god dang it, someone's got to go with the opposition. Someone's got to be the middle ground, devil's advocate. Can't wear the nostalgia glasses the whole time, I just want to do you guys a solid like that and do myself a solid. But you need to know this stuff before going in. You have to know, or else you'll just repeat a Cyberpunk situation or a Final Fantasy VII Remake situation. There was plenty of people that hated those games for numerous reasons. And guess what? I kept my hype level to a bare minimum because I know how disappointed I'll get or be when it comes to stuff. And that's with anything, folks. Don't keep the hype level to a bare minimum. I get a lot of you people were hungry for something Mass Effect related, and this is the best thing that we got in recent years, in recent times. And my god, it's great playing through this again and not playing Andromeda or having that to be the latest installment in the Mass Effect franchise, or you know what I mean, in the timeline. And my god, I will take whatever criticisms this remastered trilogy gets well over Mass Effect Andromeda any day of the week, okay? It has been a blast playing through this. I love the Legendary Edition. I still don't think it's worth $60, considering what I've just read and how people are just giving it mixed reviews on Steam and just bitching and pissing and moaning. So it just kind of vindicates me even more. But I'm not trying to sound stuck up or anything. I'm just giving you the facts here. So do the research, guys. Check it all out. See what other people are saying about it. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments below on some things that you did like that they changed. And some other things that weren't changed, why? What are some improvements they could have made? What are some things that you did like? Give me the whole enchilada. I want to know all about what you guys think about this. And anyway, folks, I appreciate you guys hearing me bicker on, but I just thought this was kind of fun to do, a little experiment, little debate with ourselves, with how I feel about this journalist who doesn't know remotely what he's talking about, and he needs to go back and look in the dictionary at what remastered and remake is, especially in the video game industry. So, folks, I've been your host, NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager and the snowflake, rambling idiot, and Vigil. It has been a blast. Feel free to subscribe. I appreciate it, guys. Whatever time you give this video, it means a lot to me. And, Mass Effect it came back stronger than ever. And, but let's be realistic on how much it came back stronger than ever. Let's just know the actual facts here, right? All right, Pathfinders, have fun. Take care. I just want to die.